It was a quiet evening in a suburban neighborhood, streets lined with parked cars, porch lights glowing faintly. A Black U.S. Army general, dressed in full military uniform, was driving home after attending a community event. But what began as an ordinary night would soon escalate into a confrontation that would spark a national conversation about race, authority, and systemic inequality. The general was no stranger to responsibility. A decorated military leader, he had dedicated his life to protecting the nation and standing up for justice. On this night, however, he found himself in a situation that even his years of discipline and leadership couldn't fully prepare him for. A minor traffic violation caught the attention of a white police officer patrolling the area. Moments later, the flashing red and blue lights reflected off the general's car. He pulled over, expecting a routine interaction. What followed, however, was anything but. The officer approached cautiously, his demeanor strict. Witnesses reported that tensions escalated almost immediately. The general, confused and visibly frustrated, questioned why he had been stopped. His uniform, a symbol of honor and service, seemed to go unnoticed. As the exchange intensified, the officer claimed he felt threatened and, in a shocking turn of events, drew his weapon. The general, visibly upset, raised his hands in disbelief, trying to de-escalate the situation. Bystanders began gathering around the scene. Some recorded the confrontation on their phones, capturing the tension and confusion of the moment. Others called out, urging the officer to lower his weapon and defuse the situation. Their pleas echoed through the neighborhood. This neighborhood, like many across the U.S., had a complicated history with law enforcement. While diverse, it was a community marked by socioeconomic disparities, where stories of racial profiling were not uncommon. Many residents had grown wary of police interactions, their distrust fueled by years of tension and unaddressed grievances. For them, this wasn't just about the general. It was about every father, brother, and son who had faced similar treatment. Their frustration wasn't just with this one incident. It was with a system that seemed stacked against them. This context made the confrontation even more significant. It wasn't happening in isolation. It was part of a larger pattern that the neighborhood knew all too well. The videos captured by bystanders spread rapidly online. Within hours, they had gone viral, sparking outrage across the country. Social media became a powerful platform for amplifying the story, with hashtags like #JusticeForTheGeneral and #StopPoliceBrutality trending nationwide. Protests erupted in the city, with community leaders and activists taking to the streets. The general's military service added a unique layer to the story, as many questioned how someone who had dedicated his life to protecting the nation could be treated this way. The general himself released a statement, saying, "I may wear the uniform of this nation, but this uniform does not shield me from the prejudice so many face daily." His words struck a chord, fueling conversations about race, privilege, and the reality of systemic bias. In the days that followed, the officer was placed on administrative leave as the department launched an investigation. Public pressure mounted, with citizens demanding transparency and accountability. Protesters outside the police station carried signs that read, "No justice, no peace," and "Accountability now." Eventually, charges of excessive force and misconduct were brought against the officer. The trial drew national attention, with advocates on both sides debating the complexities of policing, race, and responsibility. This case wasn't just about one officer, it became a trial of the system itself. It forced people to confront uncomfortable truths about the state of law enforcement and the justice system in America. The incident also had a profound impact on relations between the military and law enforcement. Leaders from both groups acknowledged the need for better understanding and communication, especially in high-stress situations. Programs focusing on de-escalation, cultural sensitivity, and mutual respect were proposed. These initiatives aim to prevent future misunderstandings and foster collaboration between two groups that share the goal of serving and protecting their communities. This story is part of a larger narrative, a reflection of the systemic issues that many communities face every day. It's about more than one incident. It's about a system that demands accountability, equity, and change. It also shows the power of collective action. When people come together to demand better, change becomes possible. Policies were reviewed, reforms were initiated, and conversations that had long been avoided were finally being had. As we reflect on this incident, we're reminded of the work that still lies ahead. Stories like this are difficult to hear, but they're necessary. They push us to ask questions, to demand answers, and to fight for a future where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. What do you think needs to change? How can we work together to build a better, fairer society? Share your thoughts and join the conversation. Every voice matters.